I'm gonna go out to the garage for a second.
Okay. It's been like an hour. What is he doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. What's up, you guys? Gonna be here doing a little review video. 1 year of ownership. Came up on us quick. Done a lot. Got a lot more plans for it. So I'll just go over a little list of pros, cons, things I think you should get right away, and things that you might want to get later on. Alright? Oh, I guess we can start with the negatives first. Get those out of the way. It's a pretty known common problem that the clutch baskets in these are not the greatest. They like to explode and throw pieces of metal into your motor, causing some pretty catastrophic failures if you don't catch it in time. So I would say the clutch basket probably needs to be something in the first couple of years of ownership that you get taken care of if you don't want to do it right away, because they are a little pricey. You can either go with Henson, one of the aftermarket clutch companies, Recluse. They're all great companies. They could all fix the problem. A lot of people that I know personally, they've gone with just the 2009 clutch basket. Just seems to be a little beefier and can take a little bit more abuse. Let's see here. Sorry guys, I'm looking at my list here. Went through it last night and kind of doing my pros and cons list. The price, these things aren't what they were 10, 15 years ago when you could go get a brand new machine for $8,000, $9,000. Now you're looking, after you pay fees and everything, if you just pay cash, you're around $12,000 out the door. So it's not cheap, and you throw in the fact of the matter is that the tires suck from the factory. You have no grip. It likes to just slide around everywhere on you, which can be fun, but kind of hinders you speed-wise there. And then needing to go and get that clutch basket, along with some other things I'm going to touch on in a minute, it adds up quick. So you need to make sure you have quite a bit saved up before you go and purchase one of these. The third thing on my list, and these are in no particular order, it's just kind of as they came to my mind, is not much has really changed since, I don't even know when. I mean, 2007, maybe 2008. Nothing's really changed. They look great. I think they changed the frame at some point earlier on, but I can't remember if that was 2014 when they went EFI. Other than that, for the last decade, it's been about the same. So whether you get a 2014 or a 2024, you're really just banking on the fact that it's brand new and it's not going to have problems, versus going and buying a 2016 that somebody else has put the hours on and you don't know what they did. Then just as they come for the next thing, they are choked down ridiculously to meet emission standards. Thanks California, appreciate you. It's bad. I mean, you have to hold this thing in the upper half of the RPMs, or it's just going to flame out on you, and it makes for some embarrassing moments because it'll just die. And you think, oh, well, it's fine. I can lug through this a little bit. No, there's no lugging one of these from the factory. I know you can get away with it a little bit. You start adding the big three, pipe, ECU, intake, and you can lug it a little more. They don't like it. They're a crotch rocket of the woods. They want to be peaked out, top of the RPM range all the time, which is part of the reason why they're so fun. They want to be pushed. Raptors, you can lug them. They're brutes. They're kind of like Harley of the woods. They will lug down low, and they've got all that torque whenever you need it, which is why they're so fun. They're just totally different monsters. Let's see here. And if you plan on riding it for a long period of time without stopping, your back's going to be hurting. These things, like I said, they're crotch rocket of the woods. They want you down into that attack position all the time. The handlebars automatically sit you down lower. The seat pushes you forward. You are sitting almost on top of the gas tank most of the time, unless you consciously making an effort to push yourself backwards onto that seat. But they want you down into this attack position, just ready to go. Which again, that's part of the fun, you know. But on a longer ride, it can be rough. Your back start hurting, knees start hurting, shoulders. When you get old like me, everything starts hurting on you. So it can be a little rough. But the other side of the coin, that's what makes them so entertaining to one, watch somebody ride them, and two, to ride it yourself. It's just, you're always ready. So that pretty much kills it on the cons. I mean, there's not a whole lot that isn't good about it. And I hate to even dog on it because it's a phenomenal machine. I've enjoyed it for the last year, and it's not going anywhere. It's sticking around. At the end of this video, I'll actually show you guys some plans for 2024 that we've got coming and in the works. And hopefully Rossier Engineering, if you're out there, that R7 comes out, because I'm waiting. I'm just waiting. As soon as it comes out, my order's going to be in. I just need you to tell me when. All right, so let's move on to the pros list of this, okay? There's, I'd say, a few more pros than there were cons. First thing I'll touch on is the aftermarket support for these is ridiculous. It's the only sport quad left, so it's gonna be. Every company's making something for it. If you don't like, you know, Fox shocks, then let me tell you, there's probably 100 guys out there that can go out and redo your stock shocks, respring them. They can get you a set of custom shocks from somewhere else. There's so many options for everything. Pretty much every exhaust company has an exhaust for these things. It's just going to be dependent on what you like. You know, I like the sound of the Rossier. I don't know what the R7 is going to sound like, but I've liked the rest of them. Some were a little too loud for me. The R4 was pretty loud. I don't like to be all that noisy. The R5 was right at that perfect range for me. You know, DASA, that's definitely second place. Thanks, Jesse Brewer. But yeah, you got me hooked on one of those. I've been sitting up at 2 o'clock in the morning a couple times and hovering over the order now button, but I'm holding out for that Rossier. All right, so next thing for me, personally, it's a brand new machine. I don't have to worry about little Jimmy out here clapping the machine out and then selling me some junk. Cleaning it up, making it look pretty, making it run good for now, and kicking it down the road. You don't have to worry about that. Sure, there's gonna be some lemons, and there's gonna be machines out there that just don't run good. All these machines, every motor that they put together, they could do it to the exact same spec every single time. Same guy doing it. Every single one of those motors is going to run different. Some, they don't even need the big three and they run perfect. From my experience, runs a little rough. It's leaving some stuff on the table, and I can tell. Kind of likes to fall on its face sometimes. So that hits that. Let's see. Hasn't caused me any problems. So reliability wise, phenomenal. Yamaha's killing it. They're the only ones left, and they might not have changed much, but it starts every time. Have no issues with it at all. It's pretty much the only thing that I've needed to change, and it's been an absolute must, was the tires. The stock tires just don't grip up. These things don't make Raptor torque, and it felt like it on those tires because you just could not get them to grip up. They were just always spinning. So it made it a little dangerous sometimes. But since I switched to these Alba Racing RMAT XC rippers, they rip. Huh, I like that. I'm a dad, not really dog dad, but I like dad jokes, so you're gonna have to bear with me on that one. But these tires, phenomenal. I believe there was actually someone, I can't remember if it was GNCC or not, they were running these, and they made it through the entire Ironman, no problems, no issues. You'd have to fact check me on that. I can't remember who it was or what race series it was, but tires are great. Ever since I switched, I've got traction when I need it, and I can slide when I want to. They're very predictable. Phenomenal. Let's see. And then straight down into handling. You point the thing somewhere, now that it's got new tires, and it goes. The 49.5 inch width definitely has something to do with that. But it does. It handles like it's on rails. It's like going from a Camaro to a Corvette. I mean, it really is. It's you get in that Camaro and it's fun, and it handles okay. But then you get in a Corvette, and it's a completely different monster. It just wants to grip and rip. So, let's see. Down to the next one is this thing wants to hold you into that cockpit there. It wants you down in the machine. It's going to hug you like it's an extension of your body. Yeah, it makes for some back aching and some knee aching sometimes, but for the experience, it's awesome. It just wants to hold you into there. So you're always in an attack position. You're always ready for that next turn, that next jump. And, you know, I'm not the best rider in the world, but it instills confidence in me to do some things that on 400EX I might be a little hesitant. Just that added width, the way it can get slung around in the turns, it's light, just feels good. Feels like an extension to your body. Let's see. The last thing, in stock form, yeah, they're choked down. I already hit on that. They're choked down in the factory, but for most people, 9 out of 10 people, this will make more power than you're going to be able to handle in the woods. Sometimes it makes more power than I need in the woods. But where's the fun in stopping there, you know? You just got to keep pushing it. I have hit 2 trees already. What's the third one, you know? So it's plenty. If you could just solve the flame out problem, I don't think you'd really need any more. It does perfectly fine. Nobody needs to go 70 miles an hour in the woods. When's the last time you went 70 miles an hour in the woods? And don't say yesterday, because if it wasn't in a straight line, you're probably lying. The people that say, oh, I go so fast, I don't need my brakes. You're not going fast enough. You start riding with some people that are really fast, and brakes are my friend a lot, because some of these people out here are crazy. Jacob Brewer. Sorry, had a little scratch in my throat there. But it's phenomenal. It does everything I needed to do. If it could just not flame out and fall on its face randomly in some tighter sections and some bumpier sections, that'd be really cool. Because I really don't want to be going 3rd gear pinned through some super rutted, rocky, crazy, insane terrain. And the way it comes stock, it's gonna die. It just does. I've tried riding a bunch of different ways, and it'll randomly cut off on me. It just happens, and I'm kind of used to it at this point. I expect it in certain sections. But other than that, I mean, stock form, it's got plenty of power. So now that all that being said, Do I regret buying it? Do I wish I would have went and just bought something else that somebody's done all the work to and they put their money and time into it? Absolutely not. Nope. I 100% am good with my purchase here. I'd do this 10 out of 10 times again. Phenomenal machine. I've loved being able to buy a new machine. I've never owned a new machine. It's always been somebody else's junk. Buy it for $1,500. The thing barely runs, and having to go through and do a top end, and the plastics are clapped out. You got to buy new plastics. You got to get new graphics. You got to make it look good, because if you're not looking good, are you even really going that fast? That's half of it, right? That's half the fun, is having the cool gear and feeling cool, looking cool. That's just me. I think it's just as fun to get the gear as it is to get a part, because some of it is flashy and silly, and I like it. Like the 90s gear is where it's at. I wish more people would run kind of throwback gear, because they were wild. All the bright colors and everything. All right. So now we'll hit in on the must-haves. The things that if you go buy one of these, before you take it out and ride it, I would highly recommend getting. To me, it's a must-have now. And one of these items, I'm guilty of not having at all. Well, no, that's not entirely true. I don't have it on the machine, I should say. And I really wish I would have just had it put on in the very beginning after riding some machines with one. I'm an idiot for not going ahead and having one installed. So the first one, full belly skid plate. If you're out here rocking around with no skid plate at all and you're riding in some rough terrain, you are just waiting for one bad day. You hit something wrong, a rock slides up between your frame and just hits that case. You got to get it out of there, so you're going to have to ride it, or someone's going to have to pull you. And I'm not always with somebody. Sometimes it's just me. So if I didn't have a skid and I hit some of the rocks that I've hit with my skid plate, if it wasn't up in the bed of the truck, I'd lift it up and show you. It's beat. It's taken its abuse. There's, I think, 2 bolts missing out of it from the ride with the Brewers, Ashton C, and Dad Speed. It took a beating. I mean, it did. It's since I put some more Loctite on there and I haven't lost anymore, but it was taking a beating for me. Next thing gonna be the rear swing arm skid for your brake caliper and your sprocket and your chain. That saved me more than the belly skid. If it wasn't for that, I mean, I broke one chain on that ride with the Brewers, Ashton C, and Dad Speed. I mean, without that thing there, I think I would have been through a couple chains, and I admit it's probably due to poor line choices by me. I'm really good at picking the worst line possible, which is why you don't see me lead a lot, and when I do, I try and go about 50% because I don't want to pick a bad line and send people over a cliff with me. If I go over a cliff, that's my fault. If I take you with me, how am I going to explain that to your family? Oh, he broke his leg because I'm an idiot. So, rear skid plate, you gotta get one. Protect everything you can in that underbelly. These things sit low, and you don't want to be banging them off roots and rocks. Next thing, Nerf bars. I am a huge advocate for having Nerf bars. Some people don't like them. They say they get in the way. Whatever it may be, I love having that added safety. If my foot slips off, which it has before, running through some really rough stuff at any speed, catch a root wrong, you're in a turn and you're really digging down in that inside peg and it just slides off. I've had it happen before, and I was glad that I had Nerf bars because I don't like to run over my own ankle and get sucked off the machine, running myself over in the process. So other people, They don't necessarily think you need them. I really like having them. So that's part of my must-haves for me. The next thing, new tires. Touched on it already. The stock tires, I still got them in the corner over there. They're okay. They are. You're not gonna sit here and just spin around in circles touching the gas. But if you're riding at any speed, they like to slide around a lot and it gets pretty uncomfortable. So having that extra grip, that extra bite, going up a hill or, you know, carrying some speed through a turn, needing that grip, I think it's necessary. I think you just go ahead and you buy some new tires and have them put on right when you buy it. And just keep the stock tires in a corner of your garage or your shed. If you blow a tire, you got a spare, just so you can keep riding and swap them back on. And then you're good. Now, the last thing, this is the thing I'm guilty of having and not putting on, which now that I've ridden a few machines that have had them, I'm a fool, and I should have put this thing on here forever ago, and it's a steering stabilizer. Wear and tear, just on yourself, not even the machine. The machine's gonna take some abuse, but that doesn't mean your body needs to take it too, and I didn't pay attention to that. Now that I've had some either near misses or one crash that you've seen in the Brewer Offroad compound video, you know, I met a tree that I probably wouldn't have met had it not been for me not putting a steering stabilizer on. In the slow motion, you can see my front tire just barely clips it, which yanks the bars out of my hands. Steering stabilizer probably would have prevented that from happening. So, huge thanks to PeteHager.com for that one. Let's see. So that's going to be everything that is, you got to have it. You buy one of these, just go ahead and save up enough to get all those things. Because you need it, in my opinion. After buying one brand new for the first time, those are things I wish I would have went ahead and saved up for. The next is kind of things that, yeah, you could get them, but they're not absolutely necessary right now. And you guys may disagree with some of this. You might think that, oh, Nerf bars, like I said, I don't need those. Yeah, some people, they don't need them. This is just for me, what I wish I would have done. And this is kind of expanding upon on that, like maybe in the future, we start adding to this thing a little bit. First thing, you gotta get some sweet graphics. Whoever you want to use, I use SSI decals. They've done all my machines over the last couple of years. Because if you look cool, it means you're going faster. Duh. I mean, you see a Ferrari going down the road, they can be going 45 and the Honda Civic next to it's going 65. That Ferrari looks faster. Am I wrong? Nope, didn't think so. Gonna need header and exhaust eventually. It's not something that is absolutely necessary, but it will help with the performance of the machine, help with those flame outs. But that being said, to get that, you're also going to need to get an intake because you're going to need to improve that airflow even more. And if you get either one of those or both of those things, you need the big ticket item. Me personally, when I get those, it's going to be a Vortex ECU. But you need an ECU of your choice. I prefer personally to get one that can hold custom tunes, not just, a lot of people run the HMF fuel optimizer, and those are great. You know, I've seen people run them, have no issues, but I've seen people run them and they run like hot garbage and it blows up. Whether it was the optimizer's fault or they set it up wrong, I don't know. But for me, I would rather get the Vortex, take it somewhere, get it dyno tuned. I know every part of my rev range at that point is perfect. That being said, You get the Vortex. It comes with some preset tunes in it. You can kind of manipulate it yourself, ride it around, feel it at different ranges. And you can kind of like hit the butt dyno, some people would say, Michael Sabo, and figure it out. I'm not somebody that can do that because I might think it runs great, and next thing I know, everything's running way too hot, and I'm probably prone to grenade my motor. So I know I'm not good at that stuff. I'll give it to somebody that is and let them work out all the kinks, make sure it's reliable and safe. Because I don't need to be going Mach 4 through the woods. I just need it to be reliable, fun, and safe. That's it. Let's see. Another thing that we'll touch on a little bit more, or mostly throttle, just for, being able to adjust it, move it around. It's nice, it's comfortable, but it's not necessary. Obviously, it's got a throttle on it and it works perfectly fine, but it would be nice to be able to, you stand up, kind of have to go deeper down into that throttle. Mostly you can kick it out a little more and just more adjustability. Next thing, new handlebars. To me personally, they sit too low. I'm 5'11"-ish in that range, and for me, I feel myself when I stand up, I'm almost looking over the handlebars because I have to lean down so far. If you're a little shorter, maybe like 5'8", 5'9", it might not be a problem. I think I'm just right on that range of it's a little too low down there. I gotta really bend over. So I would prefer to get some new handlebars. Next thing, parking brake delete. Haven't done it yet. I've got the part to do it. I think it looks terrible on the machine. It looks awful. It's just goofy. And two, it worked twice and now it's broken. So I just don't know why they even bother putting them on there if they're going to use some rinky-dink parts that are going to break super fast. It was nice to have when it did work, but like I said, I used it twice on the first ride I went out, and it quit working. I didn't know it had quit until it started to roll down the hill on me after I jumped off thinking, oh, my parking brake is set. So that was fun chasing it, and I didn't have a camera on, so you missed that. Let's see. Touching back on the clutch basket, it's something you're gonna need to do. It's just, I don't know why they changed it to a worse design. I'm guessing it has something to do with the slipper clutch. I'm not super tech savvy on any of this stuff. I will take my machine to people that know a lot more about it than I do to get it done. Some of you guys, crazy good mechanics. I can rebuild the top end, and if there's something in the bottom end, that's as far as I'm going. I'm not taking anything else apart, splitting cases and doing all that. That's not me. I don't have the time necessarily, and I don't have the patience, because I would go nuts trying to mess with that, especially in the limited space that I have here. Last thing, it's kind of something that I haven't messed with yet, but it's something that's going to get messed with in the future, I'm sure, is the front bumper. It's bad. I mean, it looks cool, but it is bad. Whoever at Yamaha said, hey, let's make a V and put it on the front, never tried to pick the thing up because it is awful. If you are in muddy, terrible conditions and you get yourself sunk and you need to, just move the front end of the machine a little bit up out of a rut, just up onto something, or you're just trying to pull the machine somewhere, it is an awful angle to get your hand up. It's just bad. There's no good way to do it. I know HMF makes a pretty good one. There's all kinds of options out there for different front bumpers, rear grab bars, everything. The rear grab bar is another one that it's not terrible. I mean, it's there. And I've used it multiple times. I've used it to hook up a strap, pull my buddy out of some mud. I've used it to grab a hold of my machine, kick it off to the side. It works fine. A rear drop bar would be pretty cool, give yourself more leverage, but the rear one's fine. I can live with that one. The front one though, it's bad. I need to fire that guy. It's that bad, like it is really bad. If you're watching the video that made that, I need you to comment and explain to me why. Why was that decision made? But other than that, guys, just to recap on it, it's a great machine. I love it. If I ever get another one, it's gonna be a brand new one. I don't think I'm gonna buy a used sport quad again, unless they quit making them altogether and Yamaha doesn't have any options, or maybe something a little more vintage. A 250R would be awesome, but you all know the prices on those, and if I can buy a brand new one for the same price, then why not, you know, get the latest and greatest. And maybe a 400EX, just because that was kind of the quad that really solidified to me that this was the sport I wanted to be involved in. You know, the 400EX I think has a special place in everybody's heart for one reason or another. So, all right, I think that hits everything. Here in a second, I'll pick you guys back up and we'll talk a little bit more about what's over on this table over here. A little peek into the future. All right, guys, this is what we got. Courtesy of PeteHager.com. We got our Precision Elite steering stabilizer. Just like I said in the video, this I think is a must. I think you have to get one. Just for preventative maintenance for your body. You know, taking all those hard hits all the time through those handlebars. If you can mitigate those, I think you should. And then a little protection for it. We got a roost guard. Carbon fiber. It's got the blue flake in it. Matches the machine. Looks pretty good. Because again, if you look good, you got to be going faster, right? And then over here, got this Hermosi throttle, factory edition. Hopefully it makes it a little more comfortable to ride going forward. But it's kind of what early 2024 has in store for us. Gonna work on getting these things put on. Probably gonna need to get some new bars too. So, all right. Appreciate you guys watching. Like, subscribe, hit the bell. I'll see you guys on the next ride.